So, Irish and Italian reparations, more racist rhetoric, coming right up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Common Sense Logic Reason. And as always, I want to say thank y'all for joining me today. So I got more racist rhetoric for y'all. Since we're on the topic of reparations, we got more reparations talk. And this is the Irish and Italian reparations. Now, this represents an all new low when it comes down to examples that black people come up with. Now, what is these Irish and Italian reparations? Well, I heard a race officer talk about this, and several others. One person says it, then they all hear it, then they all start repeating and regurgitating it. But I did my research on this idea of the Irish and Italians got reparations, and listen to what they say. And basically, what it comes down to is they supposedly got control of the police stations and the fire departments in their communities. Now, I ask myself, how in the world does owning or controlling the police department equals to building wealth? How in the world does, quote unquote, controlling the fire department equals to building wealth? It doesn't. That's completely idiotic. Now, what makes it so bad, though, and so ridiculous, is that the same people who say that the Irish and the Irish and Italians got these reparations and controls the police station and the fire department, these will be the same black people who will say in situations in cities that are majority black and where black people make up the majority of the mayors, the majority of the city council, majority of the school board, majority of the dog catchers, as they say, right? The highest positions in the police departments. The first thing that these race officers will say, well, just because they're in this situation doesn't mean they have any power. Similar to what we have here in the city of New Orleans. Majority is black city. Similar situation. The majority of the mayors, as of late, the last 30 or so years have been black. And probably further than that. The majority of the positions in the city council black. Oftentimes the police chief in the city of New Orleans, black. But somehow we don't have any power control. Same thing with Baltimore with the whole Freddie Gray case. Same thing. In this case, the DA that prosecuted the case, she's black. Police chief black. And you're like, so black folks don't have any power now? So if Irish and Italians were able to build all this mass wealth because they control the police department and the fire department in the area, then how much wealth should black people be gaining in these cities if we control pretty much everything that we supposedly have no control over? But now we have no control over, no power when we're in the majority of prominent positions. But somehow the Irish and Italians, they had power just with the police station and fire department. Again, like I say, this is a perfect example of how idiotic these race hustlers are getting and how far they have to reach to come up with examples of victimhood, of how blacks should get reparations, even though black people today aren't owed any reparations because black people, they were never slaves. We never oppressed in this country. You are never a slave, but they cry more about slavery than blacks who were enslaved. They cry more about slavery than blacks 100 years ago who really lived under real oppression and real systemic oppression. Today, systemic is just a buzzword. But this right here is a perfect example of why black people won't just, of FBAs, I'm not going to speak on all blacks, I'm not going to speak on blacks who immigrate from other countries because they're doing well in America, but this is why the foundation of black Americans won't ever get anywhere, because we waste our time and energy on nonsense. Very, very rarely, if ever, do you hear them speak on the black family. And oftentimes, if they do speak on the destruction of black family, black community, it's always the white man's fault. Ridiculous. Anyway, y'all, if you ever hear any one of these races are subscribed by these Irish and Italian reparations, well, now you know, and knowing it's half the battle, it's all BS. And there's nothing stopping black people in the United States of America. Blacks today aren't owed any reparations, and they can argue till they blue in the face. I'll destroy those arguments every time. They were never enslaved. Now you say, well, our ancestors, they were enslaved. Well, they were enslaved. You weren't enslaved. Never allow group collective oppression, because that's the only argument that they have. Anyway, y'all, that's my whole 2 cents on this Irish and Italian reparations nonsense. And as always, y'all, until next time.